Hello sweet friends, Evelyn Hansen here, 78 years young, from Little Falls, Minnesota, where the Mississippi freezes solid enough to drive a pickup across. Grab your cocoa and settle in, because this is the wildest Christmas story you'll ever hear, and every word is true. Last Christmas Eve our big white farmhouse glowed like a Thomas Kinkade painting. All 5 of our children, their spouses, 14 grandchildren, and my late husband Lars' younger sister Karen were crammed around the table. Lars had been gone 10 weeks. Stroke while splitting birch at 76. And the grief still sat heavy on us like wet wool, but Norwegians don't cancel Christmas. So the tree was lit, the crumb cake cooled on racks, and the lefse was rolled so thin you could read the Bible through it. I was reaching for the family Bible to read the Christmas gospel when Karen stood up by the fireplace, blonde hair teased high, clutching a manila envelope like it held the deed to heaven itself. "Family," she announced, voice trembling for full dramatic effect. "Lars came to me in September, 2 weeks before he passed. He had a secret he'd carried for 16 years. She pulled out 2 sheets of paper. The first was a handwritten new will dated September 12th, leaving the beloved lake cabin on Mill Lacs, the 4 snowmobiles, and the $600,000 savings account to her son Lucas, age 16. The second was a mail-order DNA report claiming Lucas was Lars' biological child, born from a brief but passionate reunion in 2008. My daughter Ingrid dropped her plate of sandbackles. My son Paul's face turned beet red. The grandchildren's mouths hung open like barn doors in a windstorm. Karen dabbed her eyes with a red Christmas napkin. Lars said our marriage had grown cold. He wanted to make things right for his only son before he met Jesus. 49 years of marriage, 5 children raised, and now this. I should have screamed, I should have cried. Instead, the strangest little smile crept across my face, because my sweet, organized, quietly hilarious husband had warned me this day might come. Here's what Karen never knew. In March 1992, after our youngest Anders was born, Lars sat me down at this very oak table and said, "Evie, 5 is our perfect number. I'm getting the Snip, so we don't have surprises." He drove to the VA in St. Cloud, had the vasectomy, and came home waving the little card that read, "Successful bilateral vasectomy, 0 sperm count confirmed." He kept that card in his wallet for 31 years like a fishing license. Lucas was born March 2009. You don't need a calculator to see the problem. But Lars knew his sister Karen had always been the pretty one, the dramatic one, the one who borrowed money and forgot to pay it back. In 2018, she got tipsy on aquavit at the family reunion and asked Lars if he'd ever thought of her that way. He shut her down so fast her earrings stopped spinning, then came home and told me, "Evie, if I go first, keep the medical file handy. Karen's got ideas." So for 7 years that vasectomy paperwork sat in our fireproof box behind Lars' Purple Heart, right beside the real will our attorney drew up in 2015. Back to Christmas Eve. While Karen was still milking the tears, I stood up, slow walked to the roll-top desk and pulled out the fireproof box. I laid 3 things on the dining table, like I was dealing solitaire. 1. The 1992 vasectomy confirmation, signed by Dr. Olson at the St. Cloud VA. 2. Follow-up tests from 1995, 2000, and 2010, every single one reading azoospermia, no viable sperm. 3. The real notarized will from 2015, leaving everything equally to our 5 children. Then I looked Karen square in the eye and said, calm as melting snow, "Karen, honey, either you've got the first documented case of immaculate conception in central Minnesota, or you and your buddy at Staples have some explaining to do." Dead silence for 5 full seconds. Then my grandson Jonah whispered loud enough for the whole room, "Aunt Karen just tried to catfish Grandma on Christmas Eve." Karen turned the color of pickled herring. She tried everything. Doctors can be wrong, sometimes it reverses. But when I slid the 2010 test across the table, taken the same year Lucas was conceived, her miracles ran out. That's when my daughter-in-law Maria asked the question burning in all of us, "Why Karen, why now?" Turns out Karen's essential oils empire had imploded. She owed the IRS $187,000. Her McMansion was 2 payments from foreclosure, and the DNA test was ordered online using Lucas' cheek swab and hair she stole from Lars' brush at the funeral home. The real father, Denny's snowmobile and Marine in Brainerd, the married salesman, everyone warned her about 16 years ago. Karen crumpled into the recliner, sobbing real tears. This time the grandchildren stared like she was a stranger. My children looked at me, waiting for me to call the sheriff. I could have forgery, fraud, attempted theft enough to put her away for years. Instead, I did what Lars would have done. I poured her a cup of coffee, strong and black, sat down beside her, and said, "Karen, your family, even when you act ugly, but ugly has consequences. Here's what happened next. She confessed everything in front of the whole family on video Christmas Eve 2024. She paid to have the fake will shredded and a public apology printed in the Morrison County Record. I paid the back taxes on her house, so Lucas wouldn't be homeless, but the deed is in a trust until he's 25. She's in counseling every Thursday and working the front desk at the clinic in town, first honest job she's had in 20 years. This Christmas the farmhouse will be full again. Karen and Lucas are coming on time. No envelope, the lefts will still be thin, the gospel will still be read. And somewhere up in heaven Lars is chuckling with a fresh cup of coffee, proud that his little card from 1992 saved Christmas. Family isn't always pretty, but grace wrapped in truth can still make a mighty fine gift. Merry Christmas, dear one. See you next video. And remember, sometimes the best revenge is a 30-year-old doctor's note and a heart full of forgiveness. Love you bunches. Grandma Evelyn from Little Falls. Like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one.